What is going on, everyone? We are live. Welcome to SB Fantasy Football Podcast, where we try hard. As always, I'm Alan.
I'm RD. How are you doing?
I'm good. You sound confused as to whether or not you were RD. Like you weren't sure. You're like, I'm RD.
I'm not sure. Yeah, from it's pretty much where we're at. I'm messing with these knobs over here. A lot of knobs. Yeah, not sure from Idiocracy.
Okay. All right. There we go.
It started with a bunch of. I can't even say it. You can't even say these words anymore. Like your S is all jacked up. You talk like you talk all crazy.
You actually can say that stuff again.
Yeah.
It's coming back, but
Well, the whole thing was. It's like, do you really care what anybody else has to say about anything? No, you really don't. So then you can start just talking again. Anyways, but what's up, man? We talking fantasy tonight?
Sure. Fantasy hockey?
Yes, because we actually have fantasy hockey and fantasy basketball.
Yeah, I just got notifications. It's like, hey, Commish, these are started back up. I was like, oh, okay.
Don't even care. Follow that under who gives an F, because I don't care. It was fun. Hockey was fun. I think those two, was it both of them where I missed? I didn't. I thought the season was over, and so I just kind of I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And I just stopped. I stopped because it's every day. Essentially you have to. It's like baseball, right? Fantasy baseball, which I really enjoyed last year, and I plan on playing another league. This year. I missed it this year, so I'm going to play next year. But yeah, man, it's like every day. It's not like football where you're just worried about Thursdays and Sundays and Mondays or whatever, but once a week.
Sometimes Fridays, sometimes Saturday.
God, it's every freaking day swapping guys in and out. So good times, good stuff. But for this week, we have our studs and duds. We have the perfect lineup. We also have some droppable guys, and obviously it's waiver wire Tuesday, baby. We got to get those bids in. And, I'm kind of gonna. I know you got some guys lined up, but I might
what do you got?
I might just skip this week.
What does that mean?
I might
you're not putting a claim in on anybody.
Not one person. So,
okay.
But we'll go through some names. You always like to bounce some names off of me, and we'll have some fun discussions and whatnot. So if you got any questions, if you're at the live stream on YouTube, drop those questions in the chat. If you're listening to this on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to podcasts, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you hit thumbs up, subscribe, follow, and rate. We would like it very much. But you can always interact with us Wednesdays about 7. We are on Tuesdays this week, but 7 p.m. We're hanging around.
Yeah, we're here today because of hockey.
Hockey?
Hockey. Yeah, you're heading over to the hockey game tomorrow, so you're like, hey, you want to do the shows tonight? I was like, let's do it. Let's go. Let's go.
It kind of makes more sense, too, as far as from a, fantasy standpoint. Wednesdays are kind of like, all right, so waivers are over. What are you previewing, like a Thursday game? It's a little too early to talk about, like you're putting your lineup together as well. So we'll see how it goes tonight. But, yeah, I was like, I'm going to go catch a preseason game. It's a little bit cheaper on the wallet. I could take the kid with me and whatever, the fam. And but it's still going to eat my ass alive, at concessions and stuff, because it's $15 beer night.
I was gonna say it's $14 beer night because it's preseason. You save $1.
I don't think they believe in any type of reduction in price.
You don't think so?
Well, I've been there before. They don't. I know they don't. And of course, like Lizzie and I, this is off topic, but when we've gone in the past, we'll go for preseason, and it's like. It's a handful of beers each period until it's like, y'all are done. I did make a comment. I was like, hey, what we could do is go to QT, grab a QT cup, get a Four Loko, drop it in there, get on the train to the arena, and already be like 14% in. Then kind of just maintain. You're not trying to gear up at the game. You've already geared up.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
It's that pregame action you get going on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's get into a little bit of fantasy talk.
All right.
And I got to ask you, because I got a guy that you're familiar with.
Okay.
And I wanted to know about how you feel like his effect is what it's going to cause for this whole team. And we're talking about the Red Rifle himself.
Oh, buddy.
Mr. Andy Dalton came in this week and said, hey, guys, I know how to sling the ball. Let's go. And, Carolina just was gangbusters this week. And so what does that do? I mean, Chuba Hubbard, he's a guy for you to look at this week. He's available in 47% of your Yahoo league still right now. Because, I mean, before he had done nothing, and he got you 20-plus points this last week, right? Receivers are doing everything. Andy Dalton is out there firing on all cylinders. So what is, and they've already come out and said, Dalton's our starter.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about this during our draft as well. It's like I expected a little bit better year for Bryce Young, but it obviously hadn't come to fruition, right? He's not great. He needs to take some time to develop and whatnot in the NFL. But, yeah, when they said Dalton's the starter, I immediately went and slid everybody in. I had Hubbard in one of my other leagues. I went and I started Deontay Johnson this week. I go, they're all – we talked about it last week, I think, when we were talking starting tight ends. I was like, start – Trimble. Now, they didn't perform like I figured they would because Dalton does love the tight ends. He gets the ball to the big guys and lets them work. But, no, I was start every dang, Carolina Panther player you have because he's legit. He's awesome. He's the only guy this year, I think, that's thrown for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Well, 3 touchdowns, yes.
Yeah.
Because Caleb threw for 360.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, though.
Yeah. So for me,
and the defense needs to do, if they could give them a little bit of help, they would do a little bit better. Oh, buddy.
Yeah. Lizzie's in the house. Hello. Old School's in the house. How you doing? Michael's popping in. How are we? Shahid got me on a 3-lose streak to start. Dude, even Lizzie was talking about him. She's like, "What the hell?" And I was like, no one knows, who the starter or who the wide receiver 1 is. And it's been Shahid the last 2 weeks. Olave's been kind of hanging in there. Well, this week Olave took the front row. Or took the front seat, and it was a low-scoring game. It was a weird game to watch anyways. It was kind of painful because it was just ridiculous. But so back to Carolina, I'm absolutely on board with Andy Dalton. I'm on board with Chuba Hubbard and Deontay Johnson until I see something else. Adam Thielen did go to the IR with a hamstring issue. So you have to assume that now, if someone else might step up, but I think it might be more action to the tight ends. You know what I mean? I think it's going to split between Deontay Johnson and the tight ends. But for me, yeah, I'm glad he's there. It was great. It was fun to watch. It really was. I was cheering and going 8-best on Sunday.
Yeah. And, Michael was in the chat on Saturday night, and we were talking about Shahid. And correct me if I'm wrong, it was between him and Cam Akers, which Cam Akers was okay. I mean, he got that touchdown, that receiving touchdown, but rushing-wise, he was nothing. He just was non-existent, but that touchdown kind of saved it there. Yeah, I mean, look for Xavier Leggett, Jonathan Mingo. I mean, you've got 3 good receivers there in Carolina, and now they got someone who's going to be slinging that ball around. You might be getting some action out of these guys.
I know,
for
right?
Sure.
It really does make a difference. The kid, he's just not ready. And they're like, and everybody's kind of like, oh, they benched him after 2 games. I go, what? He played all last season. What the hell? What are you talking about? It's like, and I was like,
it's the season.
Yeah, I was like, dude, it's time for him to. He's not good, right? He's just not. He's undersized. He's little. Makes terrible decisions. I mean, he doesn't make like Will Levis type terrible decisions, but he can't. You know what I mean? And obviously, you bring in Dalton, our veteran quarterback, and he takes that exact same team. They don't change anything. They take the exact same team and go out and destroy. So, yeah, I think he's going to be benched probably the rest of the season unless something goes wrong with Dalton. And there's been teams inquiring about him to trade. I don't know who's asking to trade for him, to be honest. I know there's a couple teams that need a quarterback, but I'd go find Joe Flacco.
I mean, I thought Flacco signed with somebody.
Maybe, I don't know.
I think he's on someone's bench. Which hey, Michael, which Johnson are we talking about? We're trying to get off waivers.
Is this D. Johnson?
He's with Indy. With Indy. He said D. Johnson?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So Deontay Johnson. Yeah, I mean, Deontay should be a pretty solid play here going forward.
I don't see how he's on waivers. Like, I don't see how he's not on a team. I drafted him. I don't know what round I got him in, but it wasn't like really high. But I was like, I mean, he's the wide receiver 1.
He's available in 22% of your leagues.
Okay, so he's 80% or 78%. Got drafted or whatever.
Rostered in Yahoo.
Yeah.
So he's available in 22%. And that's also like, you also got to factor in the fact that, yeah, he was number 1, but he was number 1 with Bryce Young throwing to him and hadn't done anything. So I guarantee you, like we talked about during the first few weeks of the season, don't overreact and drop a player that you're going to regret dropping. Um, and someone does it every year in leagues. Yeah, actually, I dropped him to pick up Akers.
Whew.
Okay.
Yeah, you better have that high waiver priority because someone else is going to scoop them up. You know, it's tough when you got kind of a short bench or you got a lot of players. I go the same thing. You know, I got a lot of players that are injured, and they're too good to drop because they're not going to be there. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like you just got to ride the S wave and just get through the season. And it's going to be tough this year. There's a lot of injuries. Seems like a little bit more this year than last year. And man, when the injury bug gets a team, it sucks.
Oh, yeah, it's not good. And speaking of injuries, let's go to our next player because I think you're going to see more action out of him this year than what was expected in Jordan Mason, as CMC is now going to see a specialist in Germany to inquire about his Achilles pain. So it now is Jordan Mason the guy that you target to trade for? I mean, because you're not picking him up at this point, right? I mean, he's only out there in 10% of leagues, right? So, is this a guy that you go out there and you try and trade for because you looks like you might be getting more than 4 to 5 games out of him?
I tried to sell high on him after 1 week because I knew when he got in there, they were just going to dominate. Now he struggled the last couple of weeks, but it's just been kind of game script as well. They just have it need him to just be a bowling ball. But
Right.
but yeah, I mean, I was trying to sell high. I was like, hey, you want this guy? I got your handcuff right here. Give me Cup, and I would have got burned if that trade would have went through because Cup got hurt. But yeah, no, for me. If I'm in a tough situation where I need a running back, a productive running back, it's going to be you don't know when CMC's coming back. And I talked about this on the previous streams that there's no rush to get him back. They need him for late December, early January, maybe, and then that playoff push, the Super Bowl run. That's when they need him. They don't need him right now. And, now he's going to go see a specialist in Germany. I don't know what's going on. No one does. But, I don't know who I'd throw out there for him. But I'd throw some feelers, especially if I was loaded in the receiver or had a good backup quarterback because those are a short supply these days.
Yeah, yeah. How do you feel about the Kansas City running back situation after 1 week?
What a train wreck. Like, no one knows what's going on.
Standing out to you, anything?
No.
No.
Kareem Hunt's going to be up and running next week. They're going to, you know what I mean? It's going to be just a cluster. And I don't even know who was the lead back that night. I watched the game, but I was like half done, buddy.
Probably. I mean, Carson Steele was 17 rushing attempts for 72 yards.
That's not bad.
He had 1 reception for 2 yards. Nothing much there.
Yeah, I mean, and you got P. Ryan out there. You got Kareem Hunt he'll be suiting up as well. It's just one of those things where I'm like, unless I need, like if I haven't picked him up yet and he's not available, I'm not trading for him. You know what I mean? With a crowded backfield like that, I'm out.
Yeah, and P. Ryan only got 6 rushing attempts for 25 yards. He did have 3 catches for 15 yards, so a little bit more active in that passing game. Yeah, I think it's more serious than they're letting on 100%. Once he went to the IR and he's dealing with the knee and the Achilles, I knew we were kind of in for a little bit more of a long haul type thing.
And also how we found out that there's going to be an investigation on, they told him or Mason that, hey, they asked him when you found out. He goes, Friday. Like he already knew like days before, and it's just, oh, buddy.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But it's definitely worse. And like I said, they're not in a situation where they absolutely need him. They have running backs here that can get the job done. Mason, he's had a couple, rough back-to-back weeks. But that week 1 showed you everything you need to see. And if they lean on him and let him just bulldoze people and keep just a lot of injuries. They got Kittle's wasn't around, so Juwan took advantage of that, obviously. But, dude, oh, my God. The injury bug finally got the 49ers.
And in a big way. Sebastian, do I trade Brian Robinson for Zay Flowers, 10-man, full PPR, double flex? I don't know. I don't know that I trade Brian Robinson for Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers hasn't been much this season. He's had 1 good game. Outside of that, I mean, you're looking at he's getting some targets, right? But just not a lot of yards. 6 catches for 37 yards week 1. 3 catches for 20 yards this last week. But I kind of throw last week's game out against Dallas because they weren't going into that game passing the ball.
No.
That was a running game. I put the call out there. If you have Derrick Henry, start him. If you're doing DFS, start him. Underdog, take the over, hammer the over on him, and he did for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would need to know what the rest of your roster looks like. But just on the surface, no, I don't trade Brian Robinson for Zay Flowers.
That was going to
I
be
think Brian Robinson's going to have a pretty. And here's the thing, like we were just talking about the Cowboys, Brian Robinson's going to play the Cowboys twice this year.
That was going to be my comment. I need to see the lineup before I make a call on that. But yeah, back when we were talking about Derrick Henry, I was like, yeah, no, anytime touchdown score, hammer it. The over on the yards, everything else, he just bullied them all day.
Yeah, Michael, what's going on, brother? And you call it Daniels on Daniels. Also, the kid is a stud. Yeah, we were in here talking Jaden Daniels or Anthony Richardson, and I was telling everyone don't play Richardson. And the guy he had Daniels said play Daniels. Play Daniels. Daniels is going to have himself. He's looked good so far this year. His first touchdown pass, offensive lineman, this last week.
I liked it.
But yeah, I think Daniels is going to do pretty good. And like we were just talking about with Brian Robinson, Daniels is a good running quarterback. He's going to play the Cowboys twice this year.
Yeah,
and
Daniels
they can't stop the run.
Yeah, I mean, until he makes some type of mistake or shows that he can. It was a pretty solid game watching it last night. So I mean, the kid's got it. He's got the arm. He got the wheels. He's got some legs. Gets out of trouble real easly, and he's starting to throw it a little bit more. Scary Terry caught a couple bombs.
He did.
Even I think Eckler he caught on like a wheel route or something like that. Eckler caught one down the line, but it was some impressive stuff.
Eckler's going to miss some time now, so we'll see how long that's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Old school. Can we trust all the Chuba Hubbard hubbub? I'm going to go into it cautiously optimistic. We got good results week one. I think you will see better results than with Bryce Young. But I'm not going to sell out on Chuba Hubbard. But if you need someone, for sure.
I am not cautiously optimistic. I'm downshifting and flooring it. But it's mainly because, unless there's like some crazy, if they're playing like some crazy defense, right, that just snuffs out that will make you throw it. And they will box it up, and they'll just stop the run. You know what I mean? That's the only time. But he can catch. He can catch out of the backfield, which makes him very valuable.
All right. So Sebastian's back. He's got Mixon and Dobbins with Chubb on the IR.
Mm-hmm.
Tyreek, Adams, Marv are my wide receivers with Ridley and Keenan on my bench. Also have Braylon Allen and Jalen Warren. Here's the thing. You don't know how long Mixon is going to be out. J.K. Dobbins he had a rough week last week. If we're going to be missing Herbert for a little while, that might impact his value. You don't know what Chubb's going to be like when he comes back. I'm not getting rid of Brian Robinson. I feel good about having Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, right? I'm not pulling the trigger on that deal.
I mean,
Braylon Allen is starting to show up and play pretty darn good, almost outplay Breece Hall, really. Jalen Warren, it's just such an unsure situation with Najee. I like Jalen Warren more, but I don't know. I would keep Adams, or not Adams, Robinson.
Yeah, I mean, Well, he only got you 10 points, but I mean, I think you need the depth there at running back, to be honest. I mean, especially with the Mixon. I don't know what's going on with Mixon, obviously. I can't wait to see Chubb. I'm a fan of his, but, boy, that was a gruesome injury, and I just saw it in my playback in my head, and it was just
yeah. It was rough.
Mm-hmm.
It was rough.
Mm-hmm.
How are you on Anthony Richardson? I was just talking about him a second ago. Talked about him a lot this weekend with people. I know you were pretty big on Anthony Richardson going into the season.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you now? Are you still hot on your high horse with him, or are you like, yeah, no, this kid's not what he was cracked up to be?
No, he's just slipping. You know what I mean? He's had 2 bad games. I mean, the first game I thought was fine, but yeah, these back-to-back games he's had it's like, all right, buddy, what are we doing? Have they figured him out or something like that, or did he go up against tough teams? And he looks lost back there. He really does. But yeah, I'm not starting him. I think I said that last week as well. I was like, well, if you got another option, I would go with another option. And we provided a couple other. Now, one of them was Derek Carr, and let's just be honest, Carr didn't have a great week. But that was the weirdest game ever. It really was. So for me, if that's my only option, that's worrisome. Maybe I'll go get somebody else. Maybe there's one person out there or another. I mean, are we taking Daniel Jones over him at this point? Maybe and a spot start.
Maybe he's looked good the last couple weeks.
Yep.
I'll go ahead and give you a name that you can go ahead and go out there and pick up because he's available in 70% of Yahoo leagues right now, and that's Sam Darnold.
He's still available in these leagues. They're not buying into him. This guy's slinging it.
I've been telling you guys about him for a few weeks now. We're still not buying in. I think you got to buy in now. Like,
God, 33.05 points last week. Threw 181 yards, 4 TDs. This is just four. He threw 4 TDs last week. Rostered in 29% of leagues. What?
It's pretty crazy. It really is.
And I'm giving him the respect.
8 touchdowns on the season. He's your in Yahoo formats. He's your number 6 overall fantasy player. Overall.
It's his past, man. They're terrified. They're like, oh, the floor's going to fall out. But they'd rather, I'm going to ride AR-15 into the ground. I would have already gone and got, if I was in a situation where I didn't have a reliable quarterback or, the guy's starting to bust, it's week 3, I need a win bad. If Dalton was available, I would have went and got him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, why not at this point? But, I'm sitting there looking at him in our league, and he's available. And I know damn well he's better than the top half of the league, but you're not going to drop a big name for him. And some of these guys take a little bit to get hot. But if it was like a rookie or like a second year, like a sophomore player, I'm moving on, man. I get the guy sitting right here. And then you got Andy Dalton, too. And if I was in a spot, I would have picked up Andy Dalton as well. I was like, I have no doubt. That guy can do it now. Is he going to win you Super Bowl? No. Probably not. He might not even do good next week. But when he gets
he's
his
gonna be
chance,
better than Bryce Young.
And when he comes in, it's like comes out of the gate hot. He might simmer a little bit. He plays a tough team, maybe. But they were playing Vegas, dude. He couldn't have asked for a better team to hit the field against.
Right.
And I love the Raiders. You know what I mean? I love the Vegas Raiders, but. Yeah, they're not good, and the coach is all pissed, and everybody they're in full meltdown mode. Last week they were planning the Super Bowl route. This week they're like business decision. I think that's what the coach said. You got to hear the press conference. It's crazy.
Who was it that was? They were asking him a question. And he was like, "I like my money. I'm not answering that. I like my money."
Who was that? Oh my god!
Oh, it was Atlanta, Raheem Morris.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
because of that pass interference call that wasn't called. And they're like, "What do you think about that pass interference call?" He's like, "I like my money."
He's got a hold of him. His arms around him.
Pays me a lot of money, and I like it.
Yeah, got a hold of him, and he's sitting there running out.
Bold, yeah.
Like, oh my god. Yeah, I don't blame him. There's no point. What are you going to get from complaining? You know what I mean? Just submit the letter, submit the thing. Don't get fined.
Yeah.
And I like him as a head coach, anyways.
Raheem Morris. It was funny. He's like, "Yeah, no, I like my money. If I say something, I'm getting fined, and I'm not giving my money. So no, you get nothing from me. I like my money."
You already know what I'm thinking. I just don't have to pay for it.
Oh man, are you freaking out about tight ends right now?
I am in a pickle, but it's like I give advice on it, and then I don't follow my own advice. Like, because when Evan Ingram went down, my immediate response should have been, let me go get the backup real quick. Is it Sample? It's not Sample. What's his name out there? Strange. There you go. And I was like, let me go pick.
Strange.
I was like, let me go pick him up real quick because he's going to get the action. Now, not have the same, obviously the amount of opportunities, and Jacksonville looks insanely terrible right now. Like
Jacksonville's awful.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence looks terrible. He wouldn't even being like pressured, and he tucked the ball, did a spin move. It looks like someone has the controller, and they're not really paying attention to the game.
Like your kid took the controller?
Yeah, they're just hammering
they're holding the controller upside down, when you give your kid the controller, but you accidentally gave him the wrong controller, right?
Yeah, that's and so anyways, tight ends are absolutely a disaster And I mean, when you look at it, like all the top performers, all the top dogs, they all suck. These middle of the field dudes are starting to show up, and yeah, it's just one of those years, man, where nothing makes sense. The world's upside down. It's fantasy, and not only that, but betting, playing underdog. It
just take the under on everybody.
Everything is crazy right now. So, but it's one of those things where it's like, Jesus. I put in like Ertz, I think. I doubt him. I go, you know what? He led the team in targets. I think he got like 3 or 4 last night or that night, whatever it was. Yeah, last night. But, dude. Oh, my God. I don't even know what to do.
He had 5 catches on 5 targets for 38 yards.
I went to bed.
Yeah, and I mean, Ertz is available in 77% of your leagues. Mike Gesicki is out there in 59% of your leagues.
That's who I was saying I was going to pick up.
Your number 3 tight end right now is available in 58% of leagues.
Yeah, he put up that 25-pointer this past weekend.
That's all this week.
Yeah.
10 catches for 97 yards and a touchdown. So just proceed with caution with that one. But
yeah, most of that game was in garbage time. Like, that's the same thing that kind of, if you were watching, say, like the Cowboys game, right? All those stats came in at the end. There was going against prevent defense or a relaxed defense that they're up by multiple touchdowns. And that's what it was. Indy, like, they were just kind of hanging around. They didn't have to do anything. Like, Jonathan Taylor was taking care of business on the ground. Receivers, Pittman caught some balls. I was actually shocked. I didn't even know he knew who Michael Pittman was at this point. I'm like, yeah, no, he's the dude out there just hanging around.
All right, here we go. Slapski. Any advice? I am 1-2, 12-man, PPR, 2 flex, Kyler Henry, Brian Robinson, CD, Nico, McBride, D. Smith, T. Higgins, bench, Marcus Robinson, Spears, Dowell, Braylon Allen, and Schultz. Well, you're probably going to end up having to play Schultz this week because Bride took a nasty hit. Nasty hit this weekend. He's 1-2. Okay.
That's how I read it. Yeah.
Kyler. Man. How are you feeling about Kyler?
I think he was fine. How did he do this past week? He was out there running around crazy. Like, it looked like he was having the time of his life. Did he not do a lot? Hold on, let me go back to quarterbacks.
He has 207 yards, a touchdown, and interception, 5 rushes for 45 yards.
Yeah, he can get better. I like him. I'm not moving him around unless, this. We were just talking about it as well, with
playing Washington this week.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. They got after Burrow, but Burrow just made, I don't know, they lost an offensive line.
The Bengals just aren't good.
Yeah, who's it? Brown went down. He's down. He's out for like the season. Burrow still put up 36 freaking points. But, we were talking about some alternatives you can, like Dalton and Darnold. Like, I'm starting those dudes over Kyler at this point. You know what I mean? Kyler does have the rushing upside. But
I like Darnold. I mean, we were just talking about him. What are you playing? How many you get to start in each position? Slap.
Well, it looks like how he's saying it, right? So he's got.
Okay. Yeah. No, he's saying. Okay. Yeah. Now that I reread it, so I'm definitely. I mean, I don't know that I move anybody. The only person I'm looking at moving off the bench is Schultz, but that's just because McBride's not playing.
I might slide Braylon Allen into the flex where T. Higgins is. And I was going to say that was the only reason I didn't play Gesicki because Higgins was back. But I think you got a pretty solid. I think you got a pretty solid lineup here. I think you just probably got a couple bad weeks in you, and you just need to wait. CeeDee's not doing much, but I mean, what are you going to do? You can't sell low on him. And you got Nico.
Not doing much, but he's still he's not awful.
He got you. I mean, he ain't getting you the points he's supposed to. You know what I mean? That's probably his number 1 pick right there. But I do like Nico. Nico's getting it done. McBride, if he's injured, you can't play him. Luckily, you got Schultz. You can just slide Schultz in there. Devontae Smith, is he hurt? He took a nasty hit too. He was getting these Philly receivers are getting beat up. But I don't mind it. I don't mind this lineup at all. But yeah, I'm going to move Braylon Allen Braylon. Is that it?
Smith's list is questionable right now. But there's no updates on him. Concussion. So,
yeah.
I mean, he might not play this week. I think, should I try to trade D. Smith for a running back?
Not while he's hurt.
I mean,
I don't know who's going to give you a stud, like a running back that's going to be, that valuable with him being hurt. Because, with concussion protocol, you don't know. It could be weeks. But, I mean, he got rocked. He got drilled, and he's a little dude.
He is.
He took it, and it was a hell of a shot when I saw it happen. But, I mean, if you can put some feelers out there and see who might respond, but I don't see
trade block.
Yeah, I don't see people like, oh yeah, let me give you, one of the top 5 running backs for Devonta Smith. I mean, you might be looking at someone along the lines of like Travis Etienne.
Yeah, and I think T. Higgins will be all right going forward. That's his first game back, right?
Yeah.
So first game back, typically a little bit rougher. He did have 6 targets, only came down with 3 of them for 39 yards.
Mm-hmm. And he almost had a touchdown. It was just a high throw. You can tell that Burrow just put a little too much zip on it, and he had to go up and get it. He caught the ball, slapped one foot down, and then his right arm hit it was out of bounds. But if Devonta's out, you're actually in a decent position. Then you slide T. Higgins over there for him. You have a backup for your tight end. You've got, like I said, Allen on the bench. You slide him into your flex. You got a pretty steady lineup here.
I'll
but
tell you what I do.
You could make some moves.
I get rid of Rico Dowdle because
that Dallas don't even know what they're doing. Like, Jesus, they're lost.
They're averaging like 2.5 yards a run right now.
But Dowdle is the best performing running back in Dallas. I don't know if they're ever going to figure that out and start using him more and trying to scheme up some plays where they, because he is, I think, statistically, like he's had more positive runs than negative compared to Vaughn and Elliott. So I don't mind holding on to him, but if there's someone else out there to go get,
I guarantee you there's someone else out there better. I guarantee it. And I mean, saying Dowdle was like, oh, he's the best option there in Dallas. Yeah, but that's just like me saying, hey, I'm going to give you pee, poop, and vomit flavored ice cream. Tell me which one you like the best.
Well, he's in a 12-team league. Who do you think's out there that he can actually go get that's just hanging out? I
guarantee there's someone out there better than Dowdle. I guarantee it.
We're in 12-team league. Go pull it up later and then do one of your little shorts. Be like, hey, this guy's available in 12-team leagues.
Yeah, there's guys out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Chuba Hubbard's available in half your leagues right now.
If he's available in your league, go get him. Burn your fab, burn your waiver priority. Yeah, there you go. If somehow Chuba Hubbard is available in your league, do whatever you got to do. Go door to door and offer a case of beer and a BJ or something like that. What's going to get this done?
In our 12-man league, Chuba Hubbard is available.
Funny. Was that strikeout beer?
Tyler Algier is a guy that I like more than him.
What 12-team league? You ain't got
much out of Algier, but he's a guy that if anything goes down with Bijan, he's going to step in and be just fine.
Yeah, but you're hoping for a backup. He actually gets points now. They try to play him, but
he does. Like, I mean, week 2, he got you 12 points in your standard leagues, right? So
yes. Let me go ahead and answer that question before you even read it.
Will you trade McBride, Sutton for Stevenson, Pittman? My backup tight end is Jake Furt. Yes.
That's a
Which
yes.
end are you? Let me just verify, because someone worded it like this weekend.
Uh-huh.
But they were the second part of it, or they were the first part, and I'm like, wait a minute. So, who are you receiving? If you're receiving Stevenson and Pittman? Yes. I'm not a big McBride, but I'm also not a big McBride guy. But has Sutton done anything this year?
He finally, I think, caught a couple balls this past week. He has done nothing at the beginning. You know what? I was so pissed. I was so pissed.
He's getting a heavy target share. Like week 1, he had 12 targets, but he had 4 catches. Week 2, he only had 4 targets with 1 catch. This last week, 11 targets with 7 catches.
Bo Nix is finding his way out there, and so he actually had a really good game this week and came in. I guess he got the upset, but so yeah, I mean, Sutton's finally getting it done.
Yes, I want Stevenson and Pittman.
Yeah.
Pittman's better than Sutton, and Stevenson's good.
Yeah.
And you're getting rid of McBride, but you've got Jake Ferguson there. Yeah. Who would you rather have, Sutton or Quentin Johnston from the Chargers? Quentin Johnston.
If Herbert ain't playing, Who did Herbert throw that touchdown to Johnson? Because Quentin scored this week, right?
I think so. Yeah, he's got 3 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks.
He got a I don't know, man. If God, yeah. I mean,
well, but their backup is
Stickman.
No, it's not Stickman.
Stickman, Easton.
I thought it was. No, was active. Stickman's their third one. They got Tyler Heineke.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I'm okay with Tyler Heineke.
Yeah, he came in the game.
He's no Justin Herbert, but
I mean,
he can go in there and he can
close.
If he's got to come in for 2 to 3 games, he'll be just fine. But no, I like Quentin Johnson more than I do Sutton.
I like the trending upward and the usage and the target share for Sutton. I don't know how many targets did Quentin Johnson get this past week.
Yeah,
I know you got it all sitting right there. Tell me.
It's not exactly sitting there.
I mean, it's got to be there. It's so hard to find anything on this stupid app. I don't know.
He is got.
Oh, he already accepted it. Boy, he pulled the trigger quick. He's like, I just need somebody to tell me what to do. I already know what I want to do. I just need to hear from somebody else.
You're not seeing the target share that you're getting with Sutton, but he's catching majority of his.
Well, tell me.
Week 1, 5 targets for 3, for 38 yards. Week 2, 6 targets with 5 catches for 51 yards, 2 touchdowns. This last week, 2 for 2, 44 yards and a touchdown. You're seeing a better production out of him.
Yeah, I'm split
when
on
a guy,
and I like Quentin Johnson. I drafted him last year or something like that. Picked him up on waivers. Like, you're going to sit here, and I know you're going to be good. I'm going to wait, and then what happens? Herbert sucks. He gets hurt. Hell breaks loose. You're just sitting there waiting now. Now you got this guy, all the talent in the world. And then he's got the drops, and you're like, ah. But yeah,
I think it's be fun. And I mean, here's my other thing: if you've got 12 targets, but you only come down with 4 of those catches, come on,
the ball's flying in the first row of the seats. the mascot, whoever the mascot out there, has got more catches than he does. Some bitches just catch them out of the end zone. Oh God! And the mascots at least keep me somewhat entertained. I was actually able to sit down and watch football this Sunday. Jesus, for the first time. And not be, drug off to a bar or someone's house.
Yeah. I just said, I mean, I would have jumped all over that as soon as that was, because it sounds like it was sent to you if you just accepted it. So
yeah,
I don't know that I would have been able to push that button fast enough.
It just was Stevenson. He had a rough week too, so some people are selling low on him. Pittman should be getting better. Obviously this week he saw the ball a little bit more, so I expect a little bit more out of him. But yeah,
here's the thing.
I actually really like McBride, but now with the injury, I don't know what the hell's going on. Because I really do. I have McBride in a couple of my leagues.
I know you do.
So I'm like, all right, screw it. I'm just going to play whoever the hell. You know what I'm going to start doing? I'm hitting the State Farm optimizer, and they can just figure it out. I don't care. I don't need to play anymore. Let the stupid computer do it. They know what the AI knows better than me, so F it.
Just tell me what to do, computer.
Yeah.
Just tell me what to do.
I need less choices in my life anyways.
And here's the thing with Pittman. Let's just say Anthony Richardson goes down or they bench him because he's not playing that great. We just verified Joe Flacco's the backup.
Yeah. His stock goes through the freaking roof.
I mean, at that point in time, give me Flacco with Pittman. I mean, come on.
You saw what happened with Amari Cooper last year. Dude was 200-yard games. Yeah, you want him to be benched at this point.
I mean, he ain't seen much out of him, so.
Yeah, he had a decent first week. Like I said, 2 rough weeks, and then you just have to look at the schedule and who they're playing up against. But I think he'll right the ship. He'll be just fine. And I think it was last season, the first couple games before he got hurt, Pittman was on fire. So it was he's there. So they have a good rapport. Good stuff.
Yeah. There you go. So at this point in time, and this might be more of a question for DFS and Underdog, are you starting any running back that's playing the Cowboys?
I mean, every one of them, right? Even the backup at this point, because they can't stop the run. We talked about this.
And if you got a running quarterback,
it just I don't know what their deal is. We're here in Dallas, so if you're wondering, and so I watched Cowboy. I even put it on. I put the red zone on the other television this week. I put the Cowboy game on the main one. I wanted to watch Lamar, and I wanted to see how the Cowboys would do, and we already knew it. It just they can't stop the run for some reason, and they're melting down on offense. They're melting down on defense. They're just a mismanaged team from top to bottom. I posted it earlier on SB Fantasy on Facebook and X. It was like, if they lose against the Giants this week, is Mike McCarthy gone? And whatnot. But yeah, if who they're playing this week, I'm playing Devin Singletary.
They get the Giants.
I'm playing Devin
Now,
Singletary.
Are you also going to take a flyer on Daniel Jones?
Of course, because he's going to be able to run all over him. Now, this game is in New York, if I'm not mistaken. So they're up. Well, excuse me, they're up in New Jersey, and I'm playing him over Geno in our CBS league.
You're playing Daniel Jones over Geno?
Yeah.
Who's Geno playing this week?
Don't even know. Don't care.
Don't even care. What if they're playing Cleveland?
No. I mean, Myles Garrett might.
They're actually playing Detroit, so that's actually going to be a tough matchup for Geno. Yeah. So, yeah, I would definitely go with Daniel Jones over Geno Smith this week.
Yeah. I mean, why not? And whatever his rushing numbers are, I'm probably going to slap a little extra on that. I'm probably going to put Singletary to be an anytime touchdown scorer. But yeah, I mean, they've already seen the blueprint. Just go run the ball, and then occasionally throw a deep ball just to kind of keep them honest. But they can't. I don't know how they can't stop the run. They can't stop the run. No, they can't. I mean, but that was the MO last year. Prescott, highest paid QB, and CD Lamb, highest paid wide receiver. Dak is the highest paid player in the league, regardless of position. Mm-hmm. And I don't think CD was the highest. I think he came in just under Jefferson. I can't remember. I can't remember at all.
I think he did come in just under. So, but I mean, they're having some problems there. They're not on the same page. They're getting into it on the sideline. But I'm not concerned if I'm a CD Lamb owner. He's going to be just fine.
So 136 for CD Lamb, 140 for Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. So just under, under Jefferson.
But yeah, I mean, with Dak, it's like, they're getting to see what they paid for, and he's not good. He pulls the same ass as Romo, right? They were down big, right? But they got close. They were so close. They even recovered an onside kick for God's sakes. But I don't. He cannot.
I was at the store and I heard some Cowboys fans talking.
Yeah.
The optimism is back. They're getting crushed. Baltimore kind of stops playing, lets them come back into the game, and they're like, "Dude, did you see that comeback, man? We almost had him. They weren't trying, bro." Like,
you're going against a prevent defense. They're up by 3 touchdowns. Now,
right.
Yeah, I mean, something could have happened. Like they could have, but that's I don't know why teams let their foot off the gas. They should just treat it like college and just keep going because you don't know what's going to happen. And just like with the onside kick, as rare it is, you got to tell them it's coming too. Hey, we're going to do an onside kick. And I think you only get like 1 or 2 a game. I don't even know. You can't do.
Well, you can't do it unless you're losing.
You have to do
that.
It has
to be the end of the fourth quarter. Like I think it's like with like 5 minutes or less left or something like that.
So dumb.
So like you can't do like Sean Payton did in the Super Bowl, right? And came out to start the second half. He's like, hey, we need to get an extra possession. I'm going to onside kick it. And they onside kick it and they get the ball, right? You can't do that anymore.
They're gonna change it all back. They're gonna change some stuff around because they know that this kickoff thing is stupid as hell. It's so dumb. And I understand you're trying to protect players or whatever, but I mean they're not even doing it in college either. So and it looks really stupid. The onside kick thing's really dumb, and it takes away a little bit of surprise. It does. It just because the kicker's still booted out the back of the end zone. 74% of the time. So,
right.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Well, here's the thing with Dallas, and Jerry Jones kind of showed his ass a little bit this last week because they were asking about Derrick Henry. He's like, we couldn't afford Derrick Henry because they got him. I want to say it was like 2 years for. It wasn't much, but I'll tell you this: the Cowboys have like $22 million in cap space right now, and that's less than it cost for Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry's actually making like $5 million this year, which is the same amount of money that Trey Lance is making.
Yeah.
As your third.
They were saying, why don't you just line up Trey Lance as a running back? They're like, why
I
not?
mean,
He's the fastest guy on the team. They say he's the best runner. The Ravens signed Henry to a 2-year, $16 million contract this offseason. The deal included $7.79 million signing bonus with $9 million guaranteed. You can, so yeah, there you go.
yeah, which again is less than the cap space that they have currently right now.
Yeah. He's an idiot. He says the weirdest thing ever. He says the weirdest S all the time. And, I told you this team is mismanaged from top to bottom.
Cowboys. He came out and said, I wanted to play for Dallas, but they didn't call me.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah. Even though I wasn't a Patriot fan, I loved how Belichick always had his foot on their necks. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, what we're going to do is, since we're running up against it, not really, but kind of, let's take a look at the perfect lineup of the week, and then we'll talk waiver wire. You in?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, here you go. Your perfect.
We've kind of already talked waiver wire. I've kind of thrown everyone out there that I was going to throw out there. So
okay.
If you got someone,
well, I'll pull up the top waiver wire. Perfect lineup: Josh Allen 30.92 points, Saquon Barkley 33.6, Kyron Williams 31.6, Juwan Jennings 46.5, Jamar Chase 20. I don't know why I'm getting further away from the microphone. Jamar Chase 29.8, Goddard 27 even. Henry, 30.4 in the flex. Lutz, 14. It's funny how kickers have just fallen off this week. They were shanking kicks, everything. It was bonkers. Packers come in as the top D, 21 points. This gives you a total score of 264.82 points. So, bada bing, bada boom. Which is, I mean, did you have any of those guys?
I know I have Josh Allen. Throw it back up again.
All right. Slapping it back up there.
Josh Allen, I have for sure. Jamar Chase, I got in a couple leagues. Saquon, I got him in a league. That's about it.
Yeah. Well, it was wild. Now, this is a change from last week, obviously, and just to flash it up there. Now, Josh Allen was your top. Actually, Allen and Barkley were your perfect lineups. This might be week 1. That's week 1, so this isn't week 2. There you go. But I did have week 3 up there. This is week 3. All right, now what I'm going to put up on the screen is the waiver wire for week 4. Obviously, Jennings is going to be one of your top picks. Johnson, there's Quentin Johnson. We were talking about him earlier. He's rostered in 23.8%. Bucky Irvin getting a lot of action. He looked great out there. He did. He runs with a purpose, wild as hell. He's only rostered in 11.9. Braylon Allen, 16.5. And then Geno Smith, 27.6. So there's some other options for you.
The thing with Bucky is he's just not getting the carries right now. You're still seeing Rashid White get a majority of the carries, but it's getting closer.
Yeah,
it's getting closer.
All right, so let's go ahead and just hammer some studs out real quick since we were talking about the best lineup and whatnot. Obviously, Josh Allen won the week, 41.55 in our league. Dak Prescott came in second, 37.65. Burrow, 36.60, along with Daniels, 36.60. And then Brock Purdy at 34.7. Top 5. Any surprise in there? You surprised Purdy cracked the top 5 this week?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a little bit because you're without Debo, without Kittle. But, I mean, Jennings just showed up. And, I'm going to go ahead and say right now, I was a miss on Jennings because he was coming into this week dealing with an ankle injury, right? Mm-hmm. And so you didn't really know what he was going to do. And then he just said, no, I'm good, and just completely balled out. Now, how long is Debo Samuel going to be out? Time will only tell, right? I mean, he's still listed as doubtful right now. So we'll see. I don't think we're going to probably see, especially with the way Jennings played this last week. I think they're okay, but also they're kind of in a little bit of a panic mode as they're now 1-2.
Yeah.
So. And
this is the season total as it sits. Obviously, Josh Allen's your number 1 player, 92.20. Lamar Jackson, 84.50. Sam Darnold, 84.35. Jaden Daniels, 82.30. And then Baker Mayfield still in the top 5, 77.35. And kind of a tough week. They got a tough game coming up this week against Philly.
Yeah. A little bit of a tougher week this week for Baker. I mean, I picked him up and started him in the league over Herbert because I just wasn't sure about Herbert. And I wasn't going to be in a position to. He was a game time decision, so I wasn't going to be in a position where I was going to be able to make that change. So I just went ahead and made that call the night before, and went ahead and put Baker in and put Herbert on the bench. Still did better than Herbert would have done.
Yeah,
as Herbert came out, he's dealing with that ankle injury. I think they kind of rushed him back a little bit too soon. We'll see what they do with him this week. Keep your eyes on that situation because that affects that whole Chargers lineup,
Oh, of course.
right?
I,
Again, I think they'd be okay with Tyler Heineke if he's practicing all week, getting the first team reps and all that. But we'll see what happens.
I did want to mention Kyler Murray. He's number 6, 75.85. Someone mentioned Murray earlier about how do we feel about him. I mean, he's hanging in there, so he's number 6. Receivers, obviously, Jennings won the week, by a mile and a half. He 46.50. Jamar Chase came in second, 31.80. Shee Rice, 29.1. Neighbors, 28.2. And Cooper, 27.60. How do you feel about Rice? Don't you feel like he should be not playing football right now?
I mean, yes, but apparently the NFL's got this whole new thing where they can't make a decision until you've been convicted or not convicted.
Well, it applies to he's on a team that, where in the past, if something would pop up or there was video or there's something, it was an immediate, like, you're suspended until we figure out what's going on. And then now it's they're on the Chiefs. So it's like, well, we'll see what happens. Even though we've already seen what happens, we're going to see what the law wants to do.
This guy put several people in the hospital, left the scene.
Mm-hmm.
A couple days later, gets in a fight at a nightclub. Yeah. Is still on the team. Meanwhile, Kareem Hunt's sitting there going, I went to go kick a girl and missed, and I got cut.
That's a terrible, terrible comparison. A couple side notes. Deontay Johnson, we talked about him earlier. He was number 6, 26.2. And then Rome Odunze, he got a breakout game, 25.4. Now, as far as the rest of the season or your season totals, or not the rest of the season, we're going to do season totals. Neighbors, Rice, Godwin, Jennings, and Jefferson. It's nice to see Jefferson still up there. Now, these guys range from 68.5 points to 63.3. Everyone else is below 60s. Godwin's still tearing it up, man. You're a Baker fan. I know you're Mike Evans, but you do like some Godwin.
I do. And Godwin was a guy that I was worried about going into the season just because he's another year older and he's a speed guy, right? And the older you get, you lose that speed. How is he going to adapt to that? And he's been great so far this year. Justin Jefferson is also a guy that going into the season, we were a little bit hesitant on because we didn't know what was going to happen with Sam Darnold. Mm-hmm. And I can go ahead and tell you right now, through 3 weeks, Justin Jefferson's back to must start. Must start. I don't care what the matchup is. I'm playing him. He's starting. My concerns with Sam Darnold are gone. Let's play some football.
Yep. And then obviously with Neighbors being the number 1 receiver in the league, he's going up against Dallas this week. So having a really good receiver and then a middle of the road running back, with Singletary can get it done. It could spell disaster for Dallas. Oh, buddy.
It could. And I'm not sure. I know during Strikeout Beer, we're going to do our picks. Mm-hmm. And we always pick the Cowboys game. And as of right now, I don't know who I'm picking.
It's
Cowboys
tough.
or Giants.
Yep.
I'm not sure what the spread is yet. I haven't looked at the spread, but I don't know because the Cowboys can't stop the run. No. And Devin Singletary is not bad, as well as Daniel Jones is a good running quarterback. Him and Malik Neighbors have clicked the last 2 weeks, and their defense isn't bad. I mean, the Giants' defense is decent.
Yeah,
so
not bad. Moving on to running backs, you got Barkley, obviously 35.6 points this week. Kyron Williams, 31.6. Henry, 30.40. Hubbard, 27.90. And then Jonathan Taylor, 26.5. Any shock, surprise? I mean, you were a little bit with Hubbard, obviously, but
you didn't see that coming out of Hubbard. But saw it out of Henry. What? You did not. Shut up.
I played him, man. I was like, you're in, buddy. Get in there. You're starting.
Okay, but I mean, okay, who'd you bench for him?
Joe Mixon.
Okay, so the guy who's hurt. Okay.
I was getting him in there. Don't you worry.
That's a bold move.
Let's see, who was on my bench?
If Mixon's healthy, you're not playing him. You're playing Mixon.
Let's see, I benched who was his name? Najee Harris. I benched a couple of people, but yeah, nothing like. Yeah, it was Mason, Dobbins, these other dudes. I'm like, I don't know, man. But yeah, Mixon got hurt, so you're in. And the other league, I think
plays, you're playing Mixon. That's all there is to it.
I think I benched Moss for him in Cuzzo's league. I think I put Moss on the bench or something like that.
Great.
he's not bad. So season, let me make sure I hit the season filter real quick. Obviously, Barkley's leading the way, 86.4. Mark, your boy, Kamara, 83.7. Yeah, he's had, it's just.
Anchored by that Cowboys game.
That's exactly what it is. And Cook, 62.5. A-Chain, 61.3. Kyler Williams, now 61.2. And that's your top five. Breece Hall, very close, 61. Very close. He's on the cusp.
Okay. All right.
I'm actually kind of shocked about the Kamara being so high. But, yeah, you're right. That one freaking game propelled him to the front.
Right?
I think Barkley and Cook belong up there. That's week in, week out. And Barkley's having a hell of a year on a better team, better offensive line. He could have had even more points. He dropped a couple of very crucial passes. So did James Cook this week.
That week 2 where he had 4 touchdowns, 115 yards rushing, 4 total touchdowns, 2 catches for 65 yards. I mean, just
that was Kamara against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Bonkers.
So,
all right, moving on to tight ends. Goddard, obviously he's number one guy, 31 even. Komet 25.7. Ferguson 15.5. See the big dip there, 10-point dip. You know what I mean? It just starts falling off. Conklin at 14.3, and then Kincaid at 13.10. You're right. I mean, it's craziness in the tight end game this year.
Well, passing is down this year, right? Tight end production is down. Just receiver production is down. Just everything but running is up, right? But your passing game, it's almost like we're going back to like the 80s and 90s football, right? Where it was hard nose, pounding the ball, running the ball, not the air raid offense that we've been used to here the last 10 years or so.
And just to finish it off, the season long, Goddard's in first, obviously now 44.90. Bowers in second, 37.7. Likely is still hanging around, 34.10. Komet, 33.8. And then McBride, 32.20.
Yeah. And most of all those guys, it's because of one game.
It's hard to predict right now.
Goddard's got 40 points on the season, and he's got 30 points last week.
Yeah. He did nothing in the first 2 weeks. Absolutely nothing. Bowers has been okay. You know, he's kind of in the middle of the road, getting you 10 whatever points a game. Hadn't really had a breakout. Likely had that crazy week 1, if I'm not mistaken. Was it week 1 or week 2? Week 1 maybe. But, yeah, dude, it's with tight ends, it's absolutely insane. I don't know what to do every single week. It's like, just plug in somebody you think's going to catch a couple freaking balls. And that's what I did with Ertz. I was like, screw it. He's going to get some targets.
All right, Josh Jacobs versus strong Vikings run defense or Chuba Hubbard against the weak Cincinnati. So just based on the way you worded it, you're definitely leaning towards Chuba Hubbard. Like you want us to talk you into playing Josh Jacobs. I mean, Cincinnati, here's my thing with Cincinnati. They're bad the first 3 weeks of every season.
They're bad in September, yeah.
And then they start to turn it around week 4.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's kind of tough. Now, you're also getting reports that Jordan Love's going to play this week.
There's hints of it. You know, they're talking about it.
You did see a little bit of dip last week in Josh Jacobs running, but, I mean, they were playing Tennessee, and they were just up the entire time pretty much. He only had 14 carries. If you get Jordan Love back, I think they're really going to lean on Josh Jacobs to get that run game going, to take some of that pressure off of Jordan Love. Chuba, it's 1 week. Now I'll tell you what's surprising as I'm looking at this.
Okay.
You know how many touchdowns Josh Jacobs has?
35. He's got none. Didn't we talk about that the first week or whatever?
He's got 0.
Yeah, he's got 0.
He's got 0.
I don't even know what his goal line usage is either. Like, they haven't showed it enough for me to even register a thought on it.
Chuba's only got 1. He's got 1 receiving touchdown on the season.
He got it last week.
Man, that's kind of a tough one.
They throw it when they get in the red zone. They throw it when they get down there. Justin Jefferson catches, I think Munt caught some goal line action this past week as well. I mean, you're saying it right there, right? Josh Jacobs versus a strong Vikings run defense or Chuba Hubbard against Cincinnati. Carolina, I mean, Red Rockets going up against Cincy. What do you think he's going to do? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, can he ball out 2 weeks in a row? And I'm with you. Since he sucks the first 3 weeks, well, they suck in September. They got one more week in September, baby.
Okay.
Or
so we started the season a week too soon.
Yeah. So, but I'm going Hubbard. If I'm picking, I'm picking Hubbard. It's a tough position to be in, but you know, that's just one I'm gonna go with because I don't think, I just Jacob hasn't done it this year. You know what I mean? They haven't needed him either. That's the other thing too. He is the bell cow out there, but they'll run out other people.
Oh, and he only got that big production week 2, right? He had 11 carries week 1, 14 carries this last week, or might have been 12 week 1. I think I'm leaning towards Chuba. Is it PPR? Answer that.
I guess
Riddle
maybe
me
that'll
that.
make a difference. I don't know.
Huh?
I said I guess that'll make a little difference. Give you a little wiggle.
I think Chuba is more active in the passing game.
Yeah. Jacob's got 3 passes for 25 yards. Jacob's got 278 yards. It's a ton of yards. He just don't score.
He's got 151 in week 2.
Oh, there you go.
So
it happens, man.
He's only got 3 catches on the season.
We actually got to get out of here.
I think based on the PPR, give me Chuba Hubbard.
Chuba for me.
Yeah. One last thing. Hey guys, is Jefferson, Aaron Jones, with Jane Daniels and Brian Robinson too many guys on the same team to coexist?
I don't know. Wait, is Aaron Jones on Jaden Daniels' team? Aaron Jones plays for Minnesota, doesn't he?
I'm having trouble. Like, so you have
with Jaden Daniels. I think you're stacking Jefferson and Aaron Jones, which is always a fine stack. With Jaden Daniels and Brandon Robinson, too many guys. Oh, so you got 2. So you got 2 stacks. That's what you got.
Yeah. I think you're fine.
Yeah. Now, if you had like 3, you stack 3 or maybe 4. That's just too many. Unless you got an amazing team. Like, you know, there's some teams out there that were, you know, we'll throw it to Detroit. You love Detroit, right?
I do.
When you can stack Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Sam Laporta last year, and then Jared Goff. Those 3 guys last year, and Jahmyr Gibbs, you know, you can stack. There's teams out there that can stack. So
telling you right now, this year you can go ahead and play St. Brown, Jahmyr, and Montgomery, and be fine.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can.
No, you cannot. They are not. They cut into each other's action too much. But yeah, no, I mean, like stacks, like on a real solid team, I'm not afraid of.
I'm okay.
Yeah,
I'm okay with those too.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, you're dealing with 4 guys in 3 positions too.
Yeah.
Right. You know, you only got 2 running backs and then a quarterback and a wide receiver. I think you're fine with that. I'd be okay with it if I had that on my roster.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Yeah, you're good, Nick. You're
Word.
good. You're good. So we're gonna go ahead and call it a night. We are gonna almost made it agreeing on Detroit. Almost.
Well, we did last year, right? We talked about it, and like because there's videos out there talking about the stack, especially like say DFS and things like that. You know, where you could stack some players, and you're like, all right, well, you're getting Goff. Like even this year, you get Goff cheaper because he hasn't thrown as much, right? It's been more of a running game. It's just weird, right? You mentioned it. Laporta's down. His numbers, you know, were just not sustainable. But yeah, we've done it before. But there's teams out there you can stack. But yeah, no, it's fine. Now, yeah, Alan's about to run us out of here. But yeah, we're heading over to Strikeout Beer. We're gonna hang up here, get our beers together. We're gonna be here on YouTube. Strikeout Beer Podcast. Go ahead and head on over. Drop a subscribe. Turn the notifications on. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, subscribe. Noti's on. We do a weekly, Tuesday on Wednesdays. We're just a day early this week. Yeah. And then Alan does a Sunday night
Saturday
stream.
night.
Saturday night. Sorry.
Saturday night. You do a Sunday sometimes.
I just stopped. I was like, you know what? When I looked at it, I go, I'm going live.
You've done it the last few weeks. And then I was telling everyone, hey, you'll be back Sunday. And then you didn't come back. I was like, oh, man.
Yeah. So, you know, when you're doing it at midnight, there's no one else live, right? And then when I log on, there's like 800 channels of fantasy football. You know what I mean? Like with serious followings, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it's like, you know, you're sitting there and you get like a view or two, get a handful of viewers and whatnot. I was like, you know what? I'd rather set my lineups. It's like, I want to sit there with a cup of coffee and just set my lineups. So, but yeah, no, that's why I was like, you know what? Nah, screw it. If we get bigger, maybe. We'll see.
Okay. All right, but yeah, keep an eye. We are going to be dropping a video about Travis Kelce on the page. We gonna drop that tomorrow. When we dropping that?
We could drop whenever. Tomorrow, Friday, next
We'll drop it
Tuesday.
tomorrow.
Maybe
Let's
we'll
drop
see
it
you
tomorrow.
next Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll definitely in the shorts. We'll see you there. That's usually where I do my waiver wire targets. I didn't do it this week because we were doing the live show tonight, so I was giving them to you guys here. But thank you guys so much for watching. We definitely appreciate you. And let me tell you, the pleasure is all on this side of the table. As always, I'm Alan.
I'm RD.
Talk to you guys later. Deuces.